Brad, as always, appreciate you joining us. And let's talk a little bit about this weekend. I want to start with where we were right before the break, and that is that the standings right now, outside of Tennessee in the East and Arkansas in the West, are kind of a jumbled mess. And so as bad as things have been for Ole Miss at 5-10, and as slightly less bad as things have been for Mississippi State at 6-9, two teams really still only 2 or 3 games out of second place in the West.
Yeah, it's crazy. You said it, Richard. I mean, Arkansas's kind of extended their lead on the West, and obviously Tennessee is kind of running away with the East. But you're right. There's a lot of teams at 6-9, 7-8, 8-7, and at this point with 5 weekends left, it's really going to boil down to just who plays better baseball.
But let's be candid. If something doesn't change in terms of what you just said, playing better baseball, it doesn't matter if you're 2 games back or 10 games back. Ole Miss, in particular, has got to figure out a way to be better really in all 3 facets of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. They just, for the most part, we've just scuffled. I think when we've hit it pretty well, we didn't pitch it, and when we pitched it, we didn't have much run support, and it's such a small margin for error right now. It just seems like everything's magnified. If we don't, botch a bunt play or a cut and relay or a hit and run, and it hadn't gone our way, we just haven't been able to overcome that. So, we've talked about this before on the show, Richard, about how talented this team is, but at some point, really soon, starting this weekend, they've got to start putting it together.
So I'm curious, you've seen, if not every, I think maybe all but one game that Ole Miss has played in person this year. And this is not an inexperienced team. And so you don't expect to see issues with hitting a cutoff man or executing a bunt play. Why do you think it is that the Rebels have had so much trouble doing things that at this level are supposed to be routine?
Well, if I knew the answer to that, everybody would probably know the answer to that. But I think at this point, it's a confidence thing. And I think there were so many expectations on this team that there's been a lot of added pressure that they shouldn't have put on themselves. And so when you do that, you look up and you may be down, 2 or 3 runs. Well, then you try and hit a 3-run homer rather than just move a runner or execute or hit a sac fly. And it's just kind of snowballed. And at the end of the day, with this talent, and it's easier said than done, they've got to just sit back, take a deep breath, and just play the game, enjoy the game. Their time here comes and goes, and it goes fast. So you better enjoy it while it's here. But I think they've just put so much pressure on themselves once they got to number 1 that when things have gone bad, it's gone really bad. So I just want them to enjoy it, play the game, because like I said, they're really talented 1 through 9. But on the flip side, at some point we're going to have to figure out a rotation that works, guys out of the pen that work, and put it all together.
So, Brad, I feel like you come from kind of an interesting perspective as a former player with this question. I got a message yesterday from another former player, a guy that was really, really good in his time at Ole Miss. And he made the observation that he thinks somebody that is on this team has got to kind of step up and grab guys and try to – I don't even know if lead is the right word, but there's got to be somebody vocal. And if you look at some of the best players on this team, you've got some lead by example guys, but not necessarily vocal leaders. Is that an issue? Is there something to you got to have somebody step up and say, enough, this is going to change and it's going to change right now?
Yes, they do. And I don't know that I think the downside of that question is I don't think they've had anybody emerge as that person. And it's really a personality thing, and we talk about this all the time, what a great guy a lot of these guys are. And they are. They are high-quality, high-character guys, but at some point, one of these leaders, and when I say leaders, I don't necessarily mean one of the seniors. It doesn't have to be Tim Elko, because he's certainly leading by example. But,
sure.
It's got to be somebody that's going to grab a teammate when they screw up and get in their face, and just demand to be better. And nobody's really done that. Now, I will tell you, after the SEMO game on Tuesday, that was just an awful performance. Mike challenged him, and he challenged him for 10 minutes, and it was a real wake up call that I've never really heard, since I've been doing the post game interviews. So hopefully the guys buy in, and we'll see. We're about an hour and a half away, so we'll find out here at 6:00.
So what in your mind is the most important thing for Ole Miss this weekend? For the Rebels to win a series, to feel better about themselves, and obviously there has been a lack of success over the last 5 years or so against Mississippi State. I don't know that in and of itself really matters, but in terms of this weekend, if Ole Miss is going to have success, how are they going to do it?
Well, number one, they got to be consistent. We can't look up like we've done lately and be down 6-0 because we haven't scored a run. This offense is too good. They got to hit 1 through 9. They got to have quality at bat every time they go up there, and we just haven't done that. And they've got to be clean. We've kicked some balls lately, some double play balls. I think maybe a 2-strike count, and we're playing defense and. We throw the ball into center field on a steal. Just little plays like that get magnified, and then you end up getting beat. But to me, it's the consistency. You look back at Auburn, you look back at South Carolina, you look back at Kentucky. We played really well those first games, and then lay an egg in game 2, and then you put a lot of pressure on yourself coming in game 3. And we won 2 of those, and we lost last week at South Carolina. But it's just been the inconsistency with this team, and that's something they've got to overcome, and I think it's got to start this weekend being at home, because it's not going to get any easier next weekend when we go to Fayette.
So Dylan Delucia has 2 starts in SEC play, at Kentucky and at South Carolina. In both of those games, he's been really, really good. In fact, he's been much better as a starter than he has been as a reliever on the whole. What have you seen from Delucia that has allowed him to excel in those 2 starts?
Well, he's a competitor. He's got some Italian in him, and that's a good thing. And he's not scared to run out there on the first night, and he's going to give you all he's got. From a pitch standpoint, he's not a high velocity guy. He's going to pitch at 90 to 92, but the thing for him has been a slider. He can throw a slider in any count. You'll see it probably quite a bit tonight. He'll try and get ahead with that slider early. But he's just got some intestinal fortitude that not every pitcher has, and he wants the ball in game 1. And I think that's probably 80% of it's the mental side of it. So, I like Dylan. He's been really good in those 2 starts that you mentioned, and I suspect he'll be really good tonight as well.
Hey, I have not seen a starting lineup at this point. What is the status for Hayden Dunhurst? Is he back after the issue from last weekend?
I'm here, and I'm actually watching us take BP right now. He is taking BP. I have not seen a lineup yet, Richard, either, to ask him if that shoulder. He's kind of stretching it out right now, but I would be shocked if there's any way he can go. Obviously, Hayden Dunhurst is going to be in the lineup tonight.
Hey, last thing for you, Mississippi State, 67 home runs on the season. Long ball, big part of what they do. Long ball, big part of what Ole Miss does. They've got 61 home runs on the season. Is this a weekend where we're going to see the ball flying out of the yard on a semi-regular basis?
Yes. I mean, obviously, we're going to see some really good arms, and hopefully our guys throw well as well. But the ball is absolutely flying out of here today. It's flying more than I've seen it fly all season. Just routine balls that I thought you just heard Kevin Graham hit the back wall of the pitchers. But anyway, yeah, the ball's flying, and it's 2 teams that can really hit the ball out of the yard. I had a chance to listen to y'all interview Bart Gregory, and they've got some guys that can really swing it too, with James and Hunter Hines and Cumbus, and they've got 4 or 5 guys that have got double-digit home runs as well. So yes, there's an opportunity. It's still game 1 on an SEC weekend, so you hope pitching kind of dominates that game. But, yeah, if you miss out over the plate tonight, it's got